奇跡の炎よ燃え上がれよ君の心に未来のため目の前には闇が迫る Going back
What's up guys, Matt back again, and this is the Ichiban Kuji Dragon Ball Z Crash Battle for the Universe. And in today's video, we're going to be reviewing the entire set. Before we dive into the video, please remember to subscribe and hit the bell, like the video, comment your thoughts down below for us to discuss, follow me on my socials, and consider becoming a YouTube member to enter into our monthly giveaways and Discord server so our community can help you on your Dragon Ball figure collecting journey. This Kuji starts off really strong with a figure that is very near and dear to my heart. Super Saiyan 2 Son Gohan. The reason I'm so fond of this figure in particular is because the first time I ever saw Dragon Ball Z was when I was a kid in Brazil. I must have been around 6 years old, but I walked into my cousin's room as he was watching the scene of Gohan transforming into Super Saiyan 2 for Kibito at the Tenkaichi Budokai. It completely encapsulated me and became my absolute obsession with Dragon Ball. Aside from that, this has been a highly requested figure from fans to finally receive a master lease. Gohan was essentially the main character of Dragon Ball during the Babidi and Buu arcs of Dragon Ball Z, so it's great to see one of his big, bombastic moments replicated in Master Lease. He looks just like his manga counterpart. His likeness is pretty dang good. I wasn't sure if his head sculpt was recycling the Ultimate Gohan from Superhero, but upon further inspection, he is brand new for this set. I will point out the only glaring issue of the figure though. His hair was not completely and seamlessly attached to his head, so it looks a little bit like a hairpiece. You can mostly tell around his sideburns. It's not super noticeable, but it is something worth noting from a critical standpoint. Otherwise, the sculpt is fantastic. There are plenty of details in his hair, and I love the texturing for his gi. Gohan's colors are also perfect with lots of bright colors and shading everywhere. His hair has plenty of shades of yellows mixed in, his gi has some light greens mixed in, and you can even see some shading on the blacks of his suit. This Gohan also scales perfectly with other Master Lease figures at his average height of 10.5 inches. I'm so glad Bandai finally made this figure, and I do hope to see more variations of this outfit like his full black suit from his fight with Fat Buu. He's absolutely worthy of a pickup. The king of the demon realm and Babidi's right-hand man finally received the Master Lease just last year. Dabra was a pretty interesting villain to see in the show, being portrayed as the literal devil himself and possibly a bit stronger than Perfect Cell. His first appearance was awesome as he quickly disposes of Kibito and then turns both Krillin and Piccolo to stone. The figure itself is based on the moment Dabra enters Babidi's spaceship to fight Gohan. This is our first and only Dabra ever in Master Lease. His likeness is fantastic. Bandai went with a simpler expression for Dabra, but they did a great job in capturing it. His face has plenty of details like his flat black hair and iconic Majin symbol for his forehead. The sculpt is really well done too, with lots of details throughout. I love the texturing and craft behind his suit, including his puffy shoulders, and of course his awesome cape. The figure has great paint and shading application as well, with lots of shading on the blues of his suit and cape. The one area I think Bandai could have improved upon is his size and scale. While the figure is a fair size, I do think he could have been a Master Lease extra by being 2 inches taller. Dabra is notably taller than Gohan in the anime and manga, so to see him only a ½ inch taller as a Master Lease is a bit disappointing. Aside from that minor issue, Dabra is incredible. He may not be the most important villain in the franchise, but I love Bandai bringing him to our Master Lease collections. Next up, we have possibly the most slept on figure from 2023, and it's Super Saiyan Goku. This figure was absolutely not on my radar even up to the moment that I took him out of the box. After seeing him in person, I was completely blown away. Goku is clearly based on the moment he finishes Majin Buu off at the climax of the arc with his Super Spirit Bomb. It's one of the most iconic moments of the franchise and wonderfully recreated here. Goku's likeness is incredible. There's so much detail and personality in his face here. His smile really adds that lovable character to Goku, and I love the scratches and scuffs included from his fight with Buu. Goku's hair sculpt is also one of the best I've ever seen for Super Saiyans. It has tons of details, but still keeps it incredibly true to the source material. The figure also includes a technique Bandai started doing in 2023 by adding clear heel supports to the feet in order to replicate the effect of them floating. That's an awesome touch that makes the figure feel a lot more dynamic. The battle damage and texturing of his gi are also notably well crafted. The paint and shading really pop on this thing too, with tons of bright colors and shading included from top to bottom. His hair is incredibly detailed with all of the mixes of yellows. I just love it so much. Goku comes off a bit taller, but don't forget that he's supposed to be floating, so the height is a bit higher than usual. I don't know what more there is to say about this Goku. He's easily one of the best of all time and definitely the best figure in this entire set. Bandai surprised us by releasing a second Kid Buu within Masterlies. Buu is based on the moment he's pushing the Spirit Bomb back towards Goku. This figure was probably a much needed re-release as the original Kid Buu from the first Omnibus set had become incredibly rare and expensive on the aftermarket. However, I do think there are a number of issues with this figure. While many collectors who missed out on the first release had an opportunity to pick this version up, he left a lot to be desired for more senior collectors who may have already had the original. A new sculpt entirely or something creative would have probably hit a bit harder for everyone instead of just a smaller audience. His likeness is pretty incredible though, probably much better than the first one, really. His eyes are very expressive, and seeing the veins pop out on his forehead from his struggle are a nice touch. The biggest issue with his likeness is the fact that you can't really appreciate it most of the time because of the way that they placed his arms. He's almost completely blocking his face, so it just becomes difficult to appreciate anything about it. The sculpt is almost entirely reusing the original Kid Buu besides the arms and head sculpt. It would have been a lot better if Bandai gave us a more dynamic posed Kid Buu with his arms held higher up and his shoulders closer to the sides of his head, with his legs positioned in more of a squatting position. That way we could see his face better, and it would have been a better excuse for older collectors to grab this one. The paint and shading is pretty great though. He actually has a little bit more shading on him than the original, noticeably on his torso and pants. The size and scale of the figure is the same as his past iteration, which is great to position with other Masterlies figures. I don't necessarily have an issue with this figure, but think that he could have been executed a lot better for all collectors in the hobby, new and old. Our last one prize is pretty fun with the inclusion of He Who Does Not Like Evil, the Champion of Justice, the Great Seaman! The Great Saiyaman was an interesting idea from Toriyama for Gohan's character, as he was starting to lean more into a slice-of-life manga for Dragon Ball after the Cell games, until he decided to go back to the battle style that the series was better known for. Saiyaman is an amazing gag nonetheless, and I think is fondly remembered by most fans. This is our first Saiyaman for our Masterlies collections, and is also an e-moving that includes both of his iconic facial disguises. The figure seems based on the moment Gohan first dons the outfit outfit when trying it on at Bulma's house. Now, while I do really love this figure, I do have a couple of issues with it that I'd like to touch on. I think Seaman looks great in the face, or rather what you can see of it. His helmet is definitely my preferred way to display him, but I am planning on buying a second one just to show off his bandana and shades. Unfortunately though, the bandana head feels a little too small for the rest of the body. The proportions look really silly, and I'm not really sure what happened here in the sculpting process. The body also reuses a majority of the Super Saiyan 2 Gohan's body, but does include the 2 new head sculpts, the Saiyaman watch, and his awesome cape. The paint and shading are just as good as the Super Saiyan 2's, as are the size and scale. Some people might complain that Saiyaman should have been portrayed in a special pose, but static poses are kind of the whole idea behind Master Lee's figures. I think this is a great figure, and for a last one prize, he's still pretty affordable. I highly recommend him, and I'm glad that he was the one to round out this awesome Kuji as our last one prize. So those are my thoughts on Ichiban Kuji, Dragon Ball Z, Crash, Battle for the Universe. This set was a big surprise for me last year. It wasn't that on my radar. I was looking forward to Dabra and Gohan a little bit, but once I got them in person, Goku blew me away, Saiyaman was awesome, and even though Majin Buu isn't as good as the original from Omnibus, he's still a nice figure to have. But those are my thoughts, guys. Please let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, and if you made it this far in the video, please leave a like, and of course subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you want to support us even further beyond, then you can become a YouTube member starting at $3. Join our Discord community with awesome people that do buy, sell, trade. We do watch parties, we play games, just a great batch of people in there. And if you want to get involved in our monthly giveaway and win a Crane, Ichiban Kuji figure, or Ichiban Kuji set, you can become a $10, $15, or $20 YouTube member respectively. But I think that's all I got for you guys. So until the next video, I will see you all later.